Hello, bestie. It's B. Here we go. He does not do this until I hit record. Like, what? Someone explain. Someone explain. Like this video. One like is one nose boop for Bubby. Anyways, what if I told you that success is actually scary? I think there's this picture in everyone's mind that success is just the solution to everything. But I think that is actually the misconception. And maybe on a deeper level, we actually do understand that. It's just that we're not sure what actually is so scary about success. So as your bestie, I have made an outline of many of the possible reasons that you're struggling with accepting success and maybe viewing it as a scary thing. And we're gonna go over what we can do to get over that shit, because all we have time for is being successful as bitches. Now, before we get into it, I wanna remind you that I'm on every platform. heybriajones, come follow me on Instagram, TikTok, you name it, I'm there. And also, if you're looking for ways to support Bestie B, if you're like, man, like I love her content, don't forget to engage with it. Like this video, comment if you're enjoying it. I really do appreciate your comments. I love reading your comments, even if I can't get back to every single one. And oftentimes I use your comments to steer me into the next video that I'm gonna make. So I did a couple videos previously on procrastination and the fear of being seen. And I kept kind of seeing the reoccurring theme here that had to do with the fear of success. So that's why I felt like this was the next appropriate video. So let's start out with the reasons why someone could potentially be afraid of success. At least in my personal experience, I've realized that a lot of these points I'm about to bring up didn't really come to the surface until I got really close to a successful milestone or got to that successful point. And then all these fears flooded my mind, and I'm sure that it was probably a projection of a lot of things, my inner child freaking out, my ego being like, bitch, what are you doing? This is way out of your league. You know, a lot of things come to the surface the moment you strike gold. But that's when you have to be the most strong-minded. I feel like the misconception here is that getting to success is the hard part. Getting to your successful milestone is the easy part. The journey is supposed to be fun. You're supposed to be getting to this place that you've always dreamed of. But what people don't tell you is once you get there, there's a whole new layer of things that you have to worry about. For me, for example, I always dreamed about making six figures, and I've talked about this in other videos, and that when I hit that six-figure point, I actually freaked the fuck out. I never would have thought that would have been my reaction. But that's actually been a theme for me with a lot of things. When I got my new car this year, I was not accepting of it. I initially was having a really hard time accepting a new car. One, because I had never had anything that I bought with my own money that was so nice. So then all these thoughts came in my head, like I couldn't trust myself to have something nice and keep it. So it wasn't getting to the milestone that was the hardest part. It was staying at the milestone or hitting the next one. So like you have to get over your fear of success, because it's only gonna continue to snowball throughout your life, because I anticipate that you're gonna be very successful. So this is gonna be a common theme if you're struggling with it now. Let's just get it out of the way. So one thing that I think really comes up for me, especially with the fear of success, is actually the fear of the unknown. With success comes a lot of new challenges and new experiences and opportunities. And especially if you haven't been at said level yet, you don't really know what that actually means. That can mean a lot of things. And I think the fear of unknown can come with the idea that a lot of things are going to be different for you and you're not going to know exactly what you're getting yourself into. The fear of not knowing what to expect and the unknown can really stop people from moving forward. And as someone who is a type A planner, this is like one of the hardest things for me to grapple with. And I think this year I really struggled with making a lot of important decisions, because at the root of what I was doing, I was actually just afraid of the unknown. I knew that I wanted to hit new levels, seek out new opportunities, and I had these opportunities at my door, but I kept like stalling on them. I was just dragging my feet on making decisions, dodging meetings with people who I knew could probably get me in the rooms I wanted to be in, because I was just scared of the possibilities that came with actual success, because I know that it could completely flip my life upside down. And what does that mean for me? What does that mean for every aspect aspect of my life? Does it mean that like I'm gonna be so busy that I can't see people I love? Am I not gonna be able to have the same connection with friends and family? Is that gonna put a strain on my relationship? Like there's so many things that rightfully so come up when you're getting to a new milestone that could potentially come with new responsibilities and new obligations. So I think that for me this year, delaying a lot of important decisions came from the fact that I was scared of breaking my routine, what normalcy looked like, and honestly what was on the other side of this newness, even though I really want success. A more obvious one that comes with the fear of success is the fear of failure. It's kind of ironic, I guess you could say, but with the fear of success, it's very normal and natural to be afraid of failing, right? So you get to a new job or you get to a new opportunity, maybe a new relationship, and then you're presented with all the fears you have that you're gonna blow it, essentially. Again, this is kind of going back to my point saying that sometimes getting to said milestone is not the hardest part. It's maintaining. One thing I think a lot of you will resonate with, because a lot of you are trying to grow your YouTube channels, aspiring YouTubers. I think something that we all face as YouTubers eventually is that exact thing, right? Because I always say this, anyone can go viral. If you post enough, you will eventually have a viral video. But not everybody can make a career out of it. There's a lot of things that come into place with that, don't get me wrong. There's people have certain resources and connections, but as someone who didn't have any resources or connections and now this is my career, I can tell you that the difference between me sustaining this as my career now was my mindset. And there are people who have the viral videos, but then they scare themselves. And I can't even lie to you guys, like when I first started YouTube and started to take it seriously, I had this one video that like randomly popped off, and this video was doing numbers and I was getting so many new subscribers, and this is what I had prayed for. I was like, oh my gosh, yay, like I hit the jackpot. But my actions did not line up with what I thought they would be. I didn't want to see it. There was something there that was actually scaring me about getting more attention. And I think a lot of that ties into the video I did on the fear of being seen, where more attention might come with more scrutiny. More scrutiny might come with more bullying and just self-hatred or lack of confidence and all these things, that kind of domino effect, right? So I always kind of laugh at like when I had my first video and I literally like logged the fuck off immediately. I was like, no, I don't want to see it. And meanwhile, everyone's like, good job, you finally did it. I'm like, I don't care. You know, I convinced myself that I didn't care, but I was actually just really scared, because then from there I was like, well, now I have to like maintain it. Now I have a viral video. Aren't all my videos supposed to go viral? No, that's not what happened for me at all. I had my first viral video and I did not go viral for another like 2 or 3 years. So it just goes to show you, like, I wasn't quite ready to have the YouTube community. I was literally running from my subscribers, okay? Now it's obviously a completely different vibe. I don't get tripped up on the numbers, but they definitely don't scare me. If a video goes viral, I'm more so indifferent about it because, one, I'm happy that it's reaching an audience, but at the same time, that was the point. So I'm not necessarily surprised when they do numbers, and I don't freak myself out over it like I used to. The fear of failure really ties into a lot of that. And in my case with the YouTube example, I was like, okay, I had my viral video, but now I'm scared that I'm gonna be a failure from here and I'm never gonna get another viral video. Like, how do I do this over and over again? So from there, I started to really cheat myself on being consistent with YouTube, and I started to self-sabotage again, because I was like, oh, instead of being a failure, it's actually because I'm just not trying. It's because I'm not being consistent. But I was doing this to myself on purpose, all out of the fear of failure. So kind of piggybacking off of the YouTube example, some people really have an issue with success because it comes with the fear of judgment. Something I've noticed about our society right now is we definitely demonize people who are at the top. There's a lot of different layers to this. Like, you know, people bring up billionaires. It's not really like in the best taste, and rightfully so. Like, there's a lot of ethics involved with that, right? But I even see it oftentimes, like even if I'm on TikTok and I see there's like a really cool opportunity for a girl or something, and for whatever reason, she gets a lot of hate for that experience. Or one thing I really do notice on TikTok, I'm starting to see it on Instagram Reels too. People hate influencers, that's nothing new. But when an influencer has a valid issue that happens to them, it's completely discredited because they're influencers, they have no room to complain about everything. And look, I am the first person to tell you, I get it. I am so grateful for the experiences I have and the opportunities I have as an influencer, but it does not diminish like real life human emotions. And this is what I found out this year when I had my whole internet drama situation. A lot of people were upset that I was crying. They were like, you don't deserve to cry. And that's totally valid if they want to believe that. But I was sharing a very human reaction that I had to a situation that happened to me that really had nothing to do with anything else. But fair enough. So what I've noticed is that a lot of judgment comes to people who might get that success, and maybe that success brings a lot of attention, elevates you on a platform, whatever it may be. The thing is, the second you have a lot of eyes on you, whether that's 10, 50, 100, 1,000, or a million, there is always gonna be someone out of that bunch that wants to just pick on you for something. And we've talked about this before in the videos on why you shouldn't care about what people think about you, because 9 times out of 10, it's a projection. And all we do in that situation is send love and light to those people because they're probably dealing with something bigger. So yes, it might actually be the reality that with your success comes a lot of attention, and with that attention might come some negativity. But that's kind of like not your issue. It's not your job to worry about what people think about you. And I've said this time and time again that you have to be good with you. If you're not good with you, and then you get to these points of being successful and you're on a pedestal in front of a lot of people, they are literally gonna drag you by your edges. I learned it the hard way, but through that experience of having so many strangers tell me how they feel about me, I got really confident in who I was. And I think that it's something you should work on now, because I would hate for you to have to learn in the ways that I have. But especially in the eyes of like being on the internet, it's something you're gonna learn by default or before you get to that point. Not everyone is gonna like you. In the wise words of a rapper that I can't remember right now, you ain't popping if you ain't got haters. Where's the lie? People don't hate on crusty, dusty people. So just know it's kind of a compliment if you're getting that kind of attention, because you know you made it. I was low-key blushing when I got my first hate comment, because I was like, wow, like that means I'm relevant. People can only hate if they care enough about you and find you relevant enough. So just understand that, like, don't play into that, but just understand that it's a sign you're probably on the right track. Now, there's a difference between being a tyrant on the internet and attracting hate for those reasons, but if you are literally minding your business and trying to like be a nice person in this world, and people just constantly like, hey, yeah, it's gonna happen, and there's nothing you can do about it but accept that you are a good person and they just have issues. Now, to get on a deeper note here, self-worth is going to be the root of all evil. If you do not think on a deep subconscious level that you deserve to have the things that you want, you will continue to learn the lesson that you don't deserve those things. That's what's gonna show up for you. So that's been a big thing for me too, guys. Like getting the new car, for example, there was a big part of me that felt like I was not worthy to have something so nice. Like, who do I think I am, right? Discrediting everything I've done in that moment when I was about to sign the papers to get the car. I was like, why would I do something so nice for myself? That was literally the thought that went through my head. And it honestly makes me sad, because I would not think twice about doing that for AJ, doing that for my parents. But when it came down to doing it for me, I was like, why would I ever do this for myself? And I think that that's a loaded question, because there's a lot of different answers I could give you for that. But the one thing I can tell you is I thought I wasn't deserving or worthy to have something so nice, even though I worked my ass off to get it. So I really had to work on my self-worth issues and understand that sometimes what's blocking us from getting to the milestone we want to get to is that on a deeper level, we don't think we deserve it. And in my abundance mindset video, I talk about that when it comes to money, because I view money as just like an energetic transaction. So whenever I have a blockage with money, I feel like there's something usually with self-worth. And it usually is. I'll go and I'll do like a bunch of inner work and journaling around like the issue, and eventually like comes out on paper. And I'm like, oh, this is what's stopping me from getting my bag this month. It's usually like something here telling you, like, do not sleep on journaling, because you will literally reveal so much to yourself if you just let yourself like brain dump and keep going and just figure out what are you actually afraid of. I think the underlying thing with self-worth issues as it relates to success is that people think when they get to that successful level, it's gonna expose something about them. It's gonna expose that they're not popping or something. You have to remember that you would never be handed the opportunity if you weren't deserving of it. You would never be offered even a chance to be in the room if you weren't worthy to be there. You do, you just need to convince yourself and start believing that you deserve those things. You deserve everything you want and more. Another thing with success that I think a lot of us can resonate with is the fear of change, which kind of like parallels with the fear of the unknown. So oftentimes, whether it's a big success or maybe a smaller success, you might have to deal with some level of change that comes with that. If it's a new job, obviously you're going into a new role, maybe a new company, a new team, a new position. There's so much new that comes with hitting a successful milestone. So if you're not good with change, this is like our hell. I have never been good with change. From being a little girl, I can literally feel like how awful I would feel. Like I remember going to kindergarten and I was just like a mess. Those teachers, God bless them. For me, it was never enjoyable. I was always like, am I gonna make friends? Like I would even have issues with the teacher. Like I'm just like, this is a new bitch. Like, I mean that respectfully, but this is a new bitch. Like I don't know if she's vibing with me. I don't like her teaching style. Like I really struggled with adjusting to like things every kid has to be okay with. So I can understand why for a lot of us, the fear of change is really at the root of being fearful of success. Even with my job, I think especially this year, it's been really hard for me to kind of let go of that fear of change, because I'm definitely at a point where I'm like, okay, we're about to have to switch up a lot of things. Like I love social media, but now I'm like, what's next? And I've really been thinking about that. And at the same time, it scares the shit out of me because I know that the next thing that I get involved with is going to require a lot of change. And I'm so comfortable and honestly just complacent to the lifestyle I have right now because it's predictable, it's safe, and there's no jump scares right now. But I understand that like to move forward, we have to do it. And it kind of sucks, but also you gotta look at it from the other standpoint that it can be very exciting. Change is good. Success can often bring really significant changes into your life. It can change your relationships. It can change your entire lifestyle. So sometimes you might think on the outside like, oh, of course I want to change my lifestyle. I want better. But then when you get there, it's hard for you to adjust because it's a change. Sometimes it doesn't matter if the change is good or bad. It's going to be difficult if you just have issues with change, period. I have seen a lot of people I love stay stuck in very unfortunate behaviors, situations, and habits because it's what they're familiar with, because it's easier for them. I mean, and it breaks my heart because you watch people you love sometimes stay stuck in situations they clearly are unhappy with, but because it's easier and more predictable, they would rather that than to learn something new. There might be a learning curve that comes with change, but that is temporary. Staying unhappy and dissatisfied with your current situation is gonna be as permanent as you make it. But when you make the choice that you're ready to put in the time to make the changes, it's so rewarding on the other side of that. But oftentimes it's hard for people to break those patterns because it's literally embedded in your brain, and you have to literally break these addictions to the current thing that you're doing. Even if that behavior is toxic, you literally have to unlearn things to learn something new sometimes. And it's not fun because the brain likes easy, predictable. And to literally make a new pathway in your brain is a lot of work. And your brain doesn't like it, you're not gonna like it. And it's gonna require you to be mentally tough for a period of time until that new thing becomes your new normal. So these are just a few reasons why you could be afraid of success. So now let's get into some ways that you can maybe change that. Several of the points I mentioned just basically reflect limiting beliefs. Everyone probably has some kind of limiting belief, whether they realize it or not. But if you have fears around success, or if you have issues with change, all of this is tied to a limiting belief of some sort. It is so literal. If it limits you. It is a limiting belief. And it's really important for you to understand what's going on in your head, because a lot of the times we just kind of have these thoughts and we keep going, we let them pass, but you really need to dissect them and understand why they're so not true and standing in the way of your success. Because the thing is, your actions are gonna reflect what you believe on a deeper level. Oftentimes our actions are not from the obvious conscious thoughts. Our subconscious is driving the car pretty much at all times, which is why it's so tricky and so sneaky, because it's not obvious. It takes a lot of work and you have to sit down with yourself and actually listen to what's going on and confront that shit head on. When it comes to something that I want and I know that there's something like holding me back, I'll just like have a blank page and write down every single fear that comes up. Like I give myself the permission to like finally get it out. And sometimes it's easier to just do that on paper than to like admit it to someone or tell someone all these fears. Who cares? You don't want someone's opinion to influence you being able to clear out your mind, because sometimes that's extra stuff we don't need to deal with. So this can be just between you and yourself. So get it out and get it away. Next, you have to break down your goals. So I've found this to be really helpful for people that get overwhelmed, aka myself, but I've gotten really good at it. So for example, my little sister is raising money to go on a trip with her theater class, and I sat down with her and basically created a business plan for her. So this is just an example of what you could do, but she has to raise $400. She wants to do that by selling dessert boxes with a little cookie brownie assortment that she would sell at $10 per box. So I said, okay, you have 2 months to raise $400. So that means we need how many boxes of desserts? 40. If you hear that you have to make 40 sales, like it's kind of overwhelming at jump. But what if you said, okay, I have 40 sales I need to make and I have 2 months to do it. That's only 20 sales a month. That's a lot easier to digest. 20 sales a month, I could call 20 people and offer them this delicious cookie assortment for $10 and you'd be halfway at your goal. So in the case of my little sister, who is almost 16 years old, she's really young and the concept of money is not quite formed yet. I think this really helped her break it down and honestly motivated her to get to work, because she was like, oh, it's actually easy. But hearing that she just needed to raise $400 was like way too much for her. She needed to hear it broken down into little bits and see the realistic goals to get there, and that eased a lot of her anxiety, and now she's like excited to get to work. So take the example and do it for yourself. As a business owner, I have to break a lot of things down like that, because when I'm looking at these numbers, I basically want to vomit. It seems very overwhelming when it comes to pretty much anything dealing with numbers. I have had to teach myself this little hack to break down things, but you can do this with any aspect of your life, and it really helps to make things so less overwhelming. Visualize the success. Okay, so something I have started doing every night before I go to sleep. I do it before I go to sleep, by the way, because when I'm sleepy, you have less guards up. You're basically less willing to fight. You're more receptive to information and suggestions. They say, like, I think I'm saying this right, but like when your brain is in theta, like you take in things a little bit better. So what I like to do is just kind of run through my day, and then I like to run through how I want my week to look, my month to look, and then I'll jump like 10 years down the line and kind of picture how I want things to be looking in 5 or 10 years. It's not even that deep. It's so unserious. It's really just for fun, and you need to make it like that, like keep fun at the root of it. But it's just like this moment where you get to fantasize whatever you want and imagine and build the life that you want. This really helps, especially when you are not where you want to be yet. And the whole point of this is to raise your energy and get you excited for life. That's what it does for me. And remember, if you believe in manifesting or attracting the things that you want in life, you want to make sure you're feeling good, you're feeling excited, because when you're having fun, you are a manifesting machine. If you're not having fun, you're repelling everything away because you're at that low vibe. So this little thing that I do right before I go to bed, 2 to 5 minutes, gets me really happy before I go to sleep. And then I just wake up on a really good note. And before you know it, you're actually making those things things happen because you repeatedly put them in your brain as a place that you want to be in. But more importantly, you start to normalize the vision of success before it happens, so that when you get to that level of success, it's not a jump scare. You're like, oh yeah, this is what I've been praying for. It feels like home here. There have been some things I've been really fortunate to experience in that way, where I got to said success and I felt like I'm finally here, like I can relax, versus being afraid because I had thought about it for so long and pictured myself there, and then when it happened, I was just like so at peace. So keep doing that, and it's just a way, honestly, to like soothe myself, especially when I'm feeling anxiety around getting things done and like I'm stuck. This really helps me get out of the rut. Just that little visualization before bed. Celebrate small victories, you guys. This is important, not just because you should be celebrating yourself, but because when you can start to celebrate yourself, you're reinforcing that you can accomplish things, and you're also building your confidence. Make a big fucking deal out of everything you do. I don't care. You got out of bed this morning, make a big fucking deal about it. If that's where you start, that's what you celebrate. And I've been there. Like, this year was my year of celebrating when I put pants on. Look, we are all the way to jeans now. So we're celebrating every milestone, and you have to look at it that way. No matter how small you think it is, celebrate it, because you're building your confidence and you're building that trust with yourself that you can get shit done. And that positive reinforcement when you do celebrate is going to get you excited to accomplish more. Therefore, you're not going to fear success. Surround yourself with supportive people. I have been so blessed to have a friend group that is like, we love to see each other win. Like, yes, you got a bonus, a bitch. Yes, like, we're so happy for each other. But I have been in the friend groups that are not happy for me, where there's an energy of like, or we change the subject really quick when there's like something great that's happened. I've been in those friend groups. You do not need to be around those people, because those are not your friends. If they are not happy to see you win, those are not your friends. I'm sorry. And let's tell it like it is. Sometimes it's family, okay? But you can't choose all the time who your family is. But if you can, be picky about who you surround yourself with as it relates to friends, because they will do anything to dim your light, especially when you have success. They're gonna be the first ones to make you feel like it's small because they're not popping. Like I said in other videos, it's a lot easier to dim someone's light than to make yours brighter, because that takes a lot of work. So don't let that get to you, because that is definitely deception. That is not how we operate around here. You stay bright and poppin', and let them stay in that low vibe area, but don't hang out with them too much, because sometimes the more people like that reinforce their beliefs about us, the easier for us to actually take those in and believe it. So be careful about what people say around you. Cancel them out. You can do it. Embrace failure as a learning opportunity. Going back to the fear of failure, you have to learn that failure is necessary. You have to learn that there is no possibility of getting where you want to get without having bumps in the road. Bumps in the road make you resilient. They make you better. They make you smarter. But if you choose to become a victim to those hiccups, that's not going to work. And that's going to keep you at the level you are. Some of the greatest people in the world, I've said it before, I'll say it again, they had to mess up to get where they are. They had to take the L at some point. So take the L and make it a lesson instead of like a losing situation, because it's necessary for you to grow. And everything happens for a reason. Don't sit in your pity for too long. You can be upset when there's a hiccup in the road, but get yourself back up and get to work. And with embracing failure, also try to practice self-compassion. Understand that you're human, having human experiences. Don't get caught up in the perfectionism of everything. Try to have a little more fun. Live a little. Stop being so fucking serious. Okay, so when you mess up, stop making it such a big deal, because it is not the end of the world. It happened. You have to move on. And the best part of success, you guys, is the journey. So enjoy the journey, because the journey is going to look like this. It's going to be all over the fucking place. It is never going to look like this, okay? You're going to have a crazy journey, and you need to be so grateful for every moment, because it's making you fully capable and ready for that peak success that you're aiming for. And lastly, you guys, do not sleep on seeking professional help. There are a lot of things that have happened to a lot of us, okay? Everybody got trauma. Everybody has been through some shit, but what we're not gonna do is let it run our lives, okay? You can make a decision, whether that's with professional help or not, to change your story, because you are the master of your fate. You are the captain of your soul. Nobody is writing this movie for you except for yourself. Understand that. Truly, your life is a reflection of what you believe. So if you feel that there are some things in the back of your brain that are holding you back, then you need sometimes to bring in reinforcements. And I've been very open to doing that myself. So if you have the means, I can't recommend it enough, because there's so much, especially from our childhoods, that are constantly being projected in our adulthoods. So don't sleep on that. Be open to help if you need it, but also be willing to do the inner work with yourself. Remember that overcoming the fear of success is a journey. It's gonna be a process. And even when you get it, you're probably gonna have to still tweak it every now and then, polish it up and maintain it, because it's not something that's just so easy to get forever. There's gonna be moments in your life that trigger you, especially as it relates to success, where you might wanna revert back to like your childhood self. You might get a little afraid of the amount of success you're getting. It's totally normal, so don't feel like something is wrong with you. But understand that it doesn't have to control you, and that as long as you're aware of it and you basically confront those thoughts and those ideas, that you can move on from that and you can live a happy life and enjoy the success that you deserve. Let me know in the comments if any of these points resonated with you as it relates to fear of success. Let me know if you've ever had a fear of success to any degree. I would love to hear your personal stories. And if you enjoyed this video, if it was helpful, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit the notification bell and subscribe, because I post every Saturday, and I'll see you guys next week.